Hello, everyone. Nice to see people filing into the room. We're just going to give this a couple of minutes more, just to make sure everyone gets in before we get started. Perhaps one thing we can all do as we sort of wait for everyone to come in, maybe we can put into the chat where we are in the world at this point in time. My name's Raji. I'm the Director of Partnerships for Ubiquity, and I am in Sri Lanka, actually. So greetings to everybody, but it would be nice to see where everyone is if you want to pop that into the chat. Cyprus. Roberto's in Cyprus. Nice to see you, Roberto. Albie from Oregon. Nice. Georgie in Hungary. Yes. Sydney from Arizona. Surf City, North America. Here we go. Belgium as well. Joss, if I'm saying that right. Hello from Sweden. Excellent. Brilliant, brilliant. We have Shiv. Hi, Shiv. How are you? Orlando, Florida. Brilliant. So lots of places in the US and around the world as we've grown accustomed to, I would say, at Ubiquity, which is really nice. Let's give it one more minute and I think we can jump in then. And as you all know, this session will be recorded. So if you have to jump off at any time or you'd like to view this at your own pace, then you'll have a chance to do that. I'll share the recording 24 to 48 hours after the session's done. Hi, Angelique from Sweden. People from Naples, Virginia. Brilliant. All right. Well, in the interest of time, I think we can get started. We've got a good number of people in the room, and I want to respect everyone's time. So welcome, everyone, whether you're here in person, great. And if you're not and you're watching on recording, that's great too. We wanna have this information session for any of you that are interested in this Transformative Learning Foundation master's degree, top-up master's, PhD, and MA PhD, so graduate degree top-ups in Transformative Learning. And we're very, very happy to have our partners from the Transformative Learning Foundation here with us today. There's quite a large team, which will introduce itself shortly. But I just wanted to say a few words about Ubiquity and our partnership program, which we're so proud of. So for those of you who don't know, Ubiquity University has been around now for more than 10 years. And we're grounded firmly in the wisdom tradition. So we were the wisdom school before we became Ubiquity University. And we have our own internal degrees. Our motto actually is go deep to go far. We're a university that's rooted in integral principles. And so we're very much in the transformational education space. And that's where we see so much value, especially in today's world and the way that today's world is. And as we sort of grew our community and looked around at all the partners that exist in this space, we realized that there are so many amazing institutions and organizations and academics that are doing work in areas such as this, in areas that would fall under the transformational education umbrella, that are not given, I would say, the credit or the acknowledgement or the accreditation, really, if you're being direct, for the brilliant work that they do and the important work that they do. And so that's what Ubiquity has started to do, is start to partner with organizations to say, look, we value this work. We think this is work that would stand up to any sort of academic rigor. And therefore, there's no reason why students that take these programs with partners like the Transformative Learning Foundation, why they shouldn't be able to get an academic credential, write a thesis, and make a lasting impact on the field that they care about. I think it's especially important in the transformational education space, if I do say so myself. It's because these are new areas that require brave and new academics to make their mark on the space. And to do that, particularly by coming to Ubiquity after you do your coursework with Transformative Learning Foundation to write a dissertation that could perhaps become a book with Ubiquity's publishing arm, or write a master's thesis that could turn into a book, or just be a thesis or a dissertation that's out there in the world with your own unique take on a new subject matter, valuable subject matter, and to really be able to become an expert in the field. To really go deep into a subject is something that's so valuable, especially in an era where now you can type a sentence into ChatGPT and get a bunch of objective opinions about something. But to really focus on the depth to which a human can actually go into a subject and understand it from an objective and subjective point of view is something that's going to be increasingly important in the world, particularly when it comes to the kind of work that we do together with our partners. And Transformative Learning Foundation is no exception. So with that broad brushstroke, I'd like to hand over to Bar and his team, who will tell us about their coursework, after which it'll ping back to us and I'll tell you how the program is structured in terms of whether you want to do the master's PhD top-ups. But perhaps you're just interested in the coursework alone. And so for that, or at least to get a better understanding of how this course is structured, I'm going to hand over now to Bar's team. Bar, over to you. All yours.
Thank you, Raji, and thank you. That's a very inspirational. Thank you. I really appreciate that. TLF is an emergent organization that's actually started back in 2001 under different. We've grown and changed, and we've recently come forth with a very powerful understanding of transformation. It's the result of many years of work. We've had counsel in order to come forward with this, and we all feel really deeply committed to it. So I'd like to start, because we do have a rigorous definition of transformation. Transformation creates a shift in perspective. Previously held patterns are reorganized into deeper meanings that informs one's identity and actions in new ways. Trust springs forth. Wisdom infuses our life with purpose and direction. With transformation, an inner knowing is awakened. Trust springs forth. Wisdom infuses our actions and our lives. This is the essence, we feel, of transformation. It has to do all of this together. And everyone who's involved in our program are practitioners as well as well-respected researchers in the field. In order to bring forth transformation, we have to have certain values. And our values are very carefully gone through by all of us together. And again, we're all deeply committed to those values. And I can just summarize them as the three of them are: trust, which I mentioned a minute ago; embodiment. Transformation has to be embodied. If it's not living and breathing as us and in us, then the learning isn't meaningful. Our being isn't awakened into deeper wisdom. And lastly, and Raji mentioned this in a certain way, self-reflection. When we reflect upon our attitude, our perspective, and contemplate it, we realize our openness and our blocks to learning. And we move beyond judgment to discernment, beyond biases and conditioning to curiosity. Wisdom resonates through our very being, and we know who we are, and in that's transformative learning. So that's the essence wisdom, the essence understanding by which we live and practice and breathe at TLF. Our partnership with Ubiquity is very important to us. We've spent many years refining and honing it. Not many years, several years, refining and honing it so that the integral understandings which are within us, we had to make sure that they're in Ubiquity as well. And we're thrilled at the opportunity because one of our goals, one of our aims here is to transform every aspect of education, including to reduce the high cost of it, to really deeply reduce it, and to bring forth different ways in which it's brought forward to all those who are interested for genuine transformation. So that's the broad field in which Transformational Learning Foundation lives. And for some specifics, I'm going to bring it over to my esteemed colleague, Brandy.
Thanks, Ba. As Ba shared, he really set the field, and then now I'm going to go more into like the programmatic details. So how this comes to life. I will share that our certificate in transformative learning is an emergent curriculum, and we're adding courses based on certificate learners' interest and what faculty love to teach. And our faculty are practitioners in their field. So we have several faculty members on the call today who will share in a little bit, just so you can get a feel of their work and what they're living, how they're living transformation in the world and within themselves. And for example of how we're kind of all connected synergistically, we just discovered that one of our faculty members, Theodore Richards, was part of the original Wisdom School. And he's now working in Chicago with youth there and Baltimore. So it's really neat to see how all of these things are intertwining and evolving and emerging together. TLF is unusual in how we work and approach. So in traditional education, you might have this more standardized path that you would take, but with us, you're given an advisor and you get to choose how you want to complete your certificate based on your interest and the courses available. We do courses live, so they're on Zoom. We schedule together with participants as much as possible, knowing that we're in time zones all across the world to make that happen. But our classes, we keep them pretty small. They're usually around 5 to 6 participants, just so that during the live time together, there's enough time for everyone to share and bring forward what's happening in them based in that class, what's happening. We have rolling admissions, so you can join at any time and start with classes as they're available. And we also have flexible finance payment plans customized to what might fit your needs. We have launched a scholarship, just as a FYI, for the first 10 certificate learners that signed up this year, and there's still space, so you can learn more about all of those details on our website. But that's a little bit of the nuts and bolts of how we work. And I'll just say that as a learner, when you're co-designing your path, this can take you anywhere. We've had so many different master's thesis topics and the faculty to support that depth of learning. And so Lewis and Piper and Barbara, our faculty now, also have gone through different iterations of the program and can share about their topics. But in addition to those, when I went through the program, I studied teacher-student relationships in a high school classroom and the impact of relationships between teachers and students in a public high school art classroom. That's what I approached. We had one learner who did psychedelics and self-knowledge, another learner who talked about picture books and how to read powerfully together between those reading with young children and how that develops this innate capacity for justice and how to nurture justice through picture books. So a huge variety of topics, and part of how we're able to offer such a breadth and depth of people being able to explore wisdom within their fields is that, as Bob mentioned, we had a council of faculty and students who came together several years ago and came up with our current approach. And we have 5 zones of learning. So those are African wisdom, indigenous wisdom, expressive arts, whole human development, and spiritual activism. And there are courses that fit within these zones. And you take, as a participant, you can take courses in each zone. You don't have to specialize in one specific. If you don't want to, you can take them across, and we encourage that. But it's just a way we've organized how wisdom can emerge in these different zones. And I will turn it over to our faculty now to talk through what who they are, and why TLF and the zones that they teach. And so I will turn it over to Piper first.
Thanks, Brandy. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Piper Pollock, and I'm really honored to be part of the TLF faculty. I've been working in the field of rites of passage, embodied practices, mentorship, and education for over a decade. And I have my master's in transformative learning communities. So I work full-time at an intergenerational, vitality-centered learning community in Floyd, Virginia, called Spring House. And I'm teaching in the zone of spiritual activism for TLF. And being a teacher and working in education is spiritual activism. We're all teachers in different ways, and teachers have the capacity to shift the world, starting with the capacity to be self-reflective and access wisdom. And I'm honored to teach at TLF as the theories and the values outlined at TLF, I experience them on the ground every day as a teacher. And it's the understanding that true transformation starts from within in a community and then echoes out in service to the world. So I'm teaching a class right now called Pedagogical Metamorphosis, which is really about the personal journey of the teacher. And as I said before, we're all teachers. So this is really about creating a container for our own self-reflection in community to see what it is to be a teacher in the world, starting with our own self-reflection and doing that with others in a self-reflective collectivism. So I'm really excited. I'm happy to answer really detailed questions about my course, but I'm really honored to be part of this team. And I believe that education is transformation, as we keep on saying over and over again. And there's so much power in it to change culture and change the world. So I'll pass it off to my next faculty member, which is
Josette.
Great, Josette.
Thank you. My name is Josette Lovemore, and I have been with TLF from the beginning, from the start, many years ago. My doctorate is in human development, and my field, how I utilize that doctorate is to specialize in the natural learning relationships of children, the evolution of consciousness through childhood and then into adult life, transformational learning of adults, and the nurturing of well-being in family relationships. My specialty is how adult and child grow together. That's where my research lies, and that's where I most enjoy helping people understand, first, the innate capacities throughout the developmental years of children, how children access those innate capacities, how we as adults can create learning environments and family environments that support those innate capacities to bring forth the natural innate wisdom that's available in each field of knowing throughout a child's life. Then that in doing so, we as adults also transform in the process. And so I get into that in great detail in my courses, and I really enjoy learning with my students all the time. They ask me to read books that sometimes aren't in the course material just because that's their interest, and we go in that direction, and it's always just as informative for me as it is for them. I love teaching through TLF because it is not teaching about a topic. It is really experiential. It is bringing in learning by engaging the material and thereby making it more personal and engaging. So what ends up happening is community is created. And in that community, we each have the opportunity to have direct contact with faculty and with each other as we go along. We're not a recorded teaching system. We are in person, which I enjoy a great deal. And it always makes it relevant to the participants who are involved. So that's a little introduction into my work and why I'm with TLF. And I would like to now pass it along to my next colleague. Randy, who would you like to speak next?
Go Barbara and then Lewis.
Thank you so much. Feels really good to be sitting in this circle. And I wish I could see all of you out there. I'm trying to imagine. I'm holding you in my heart. And so I'm sitting in BC, Canada, and my master's is in the Heart's Connection to Learning. It's Master of Integrated Studies. And I'm just finishing up my research at Antioch University in a Doctorate of Education of Professional Practice. And my focus is deep listening and how listening can support the healing and well-being of organizations. Of course, the people that make up those organizations. And the stream that I'm involved with TLF is expressive arts. And I've been with TLF for many, many, many years, almost since the beginning, incarnation. And it's a joy. And my motivation really is love. Love for humanity, love for the world, and love for this experience of ongoing exploration of who we are as individuals and how that comes about in relationship to ourselves and each other. The class that I have that's going to start in September is called This Body of Knowledge. And we'll really be using the arts and the art of conversation, introspection, expressive arts to really look at the wisdom that's contained in ourselves and to share it with each other. And one of my real joys in teaching over the many years with TLF is that it is a community of learners, that there's a beautiful practice of co-hosting the space, and that we each grow together, and that we've definitely formed this deep bond of community that I've had reflected is so unique and so valued by the people who engage with us. And I'm excited to be connected with Ubiquity because it feels like a partnership that has so much to do with building the future world that we need and want. And I think that's what I have to say. Pass it back to you, Brandy.
Barbara. All right, Lewis, take it away.
You know, the great African psychologist Marimba Ani quotes at the beginning of her book, Let the Circle Be Unbroken, a great African proverb that reads, I am because we are, and we are, therefore I am. This really reflects the embodiment of what transformative learning and the Transformative Learning Foundation is, what we seek to be, what we grow into, ongoing, continually, consistently. This is really who we are. Right? I am because we are, therefore I am. My name is Lewis Thomas. I am one of the instructors in this program. I am also a graduate of Transformative Learning Communities through their master's degree program. I am a lifelong educator. I took the more traditional route. I've been a classroom teacher. I've been a principal, a school administrator, really for the past 20 plus years. But more importantly, I am an African man who is committed to being able to seek out the answers to some of the challenges that we face as a world, as a society, as it relates to bringing humanity together in a way that is self-reflective, that is collective in our approach. I focus in on the African wisdom zone, which is a zone that really is not just about African wisdom. It's about the transcendence of African wisdom as it relates to all of humanity, right? And how can we use some of the spiritual, intellectual, social, emotional tools that have been created by those on the African continent and throughout the diaspora to be able to transform humanity in a significant way. And so that is the work that we do. Why TLF? I think that it is important for all of us to be able to expand our worldview ongoing, right? If you're a lifelong educator, then that means you are required to be a lifelong learner, right? And that is why we call those that we engage with in this program our participants, because you are both participant and teacher, right? As I am both participant and teacher, right? Dr. Lovemore once corrected me when I sent her my first syllabus, and I had on there like students or something, and I had, yeah, I'm the instructor and the student, and she sent the syllabus back to me, and she said, oh, they're not the students, right? They are the participants. They are proactive in an exchange of learning, right, and discovery. And so I think that that's really a part of kind of what we embody as an organization and what we seek to transfer and transmit and share out into the world as an organization, as a school of thought, as a school. Some of the work that I am doing, I'm in the final throes of writing my current dissertation and applied research project at Purdue University in my doctoral program. And I've been doing some work on working through the connections of Black fathers throughout the diaspora to their children to build more impactful and meaningful connections to hopefully impact upon not only their academic and intellectual outcomes, but their social, emotional, and spiritual outcomes. And so that is, that is where we are at TLF, and we're excited to be engaged with Ubiquity. We hope that you will join us and taking up some of our classes and engaging with us in a significant way, sharing space with us. And we look forward to hopefully being able to engage with some of you, and hopefully we've piqued some of your interest.
Thank y'all so much for coming and participating. Piper and Josette and Barbara and Lewis, thank y'all for taking the time. And I'll just say before I pass it back over to Raji, if you have any questions, how we usually answer these questions is Ba and I will, either one of us will jump on a call. It's just a little bit easier that way. So we have a contact form on our website. We're also going to take questions now, but if any come up later, if you're watching the recording, the fastest, easiest way is just to contact us on the form, and we can set up a call just to walk through the program and gauge your interests and what might fit. So, Raji, I'll pass it back over to you.
Thank you, Brandy, and thank you to everyone that spoke. That was really useful for us to hear. And as Brandy said, we'll have enough time for Q&As at the end. If you have any questions that are popping into your heads right now, feel free to pop them into the Q&A box, or even the chat for that matter. And that'll help us to keep track of them and address them at the end. So I would say for the next 10 or 15 minutes, what myself and the rest of my team, Dr. Georgie, who's our Dean of Graduate Studies, will introduce the Ubiquity part of the program and how this partnership is structured. So very broadly speaking, Transformative Learning Foundation has their certificate, which you could go out and take on its own and get the certificate for it, and you'll get the learning, and that could be the end of the story. Or you could take that certificate and then bring it to Ubiquity and turn that into a graduate degree, whether that is a master's, a PhD, or a combined MA-PhD degree. Again, broadly speaking, you would turn it into a graduate degree by writing your master's thesis or PhD dissertation with us, along with a couple of other course requirements, depending on whether you're doing a master's, PhD, or MA-PhD. I'll go into the details of that structure now in terms of what's required of you. Let me share my screen in order to do that. But what's important for you to kind of internalize is that the coursework, if you think of this as a university, if you think of the whole thing as a degree that you're doing as a whole, you're doing your coursework with Transformative Learning Foundation, and then you're coming to Ubiquity to write a thesis or dissertation and then get the graduate degree credential from us. So if you can see my screen, I hope you can. What you're looking at is the landing page on the Ubiquity website for this program. You could navigate here quite easily by going to the Ubiquity University website, ubiquityuniversity.org, head to Learning Pathways, Degrees and Certificates, and then you'll be able to find this degree in the list of degrees on that page. Now, we have some information about the course content at TLF written out here on the page as well. The various zones that they were talking about, as you can see here. But you can also visit the Transformative Learning Foundation page for, I'm assuming, more details, as well as Brandy said, to contact them or to apply directly for that portion, for their course, or for their certificate, rather. Now, if you are someone that's completed your work with Transformative Learning Foundation, or indeed have just begun that work, then you might want to start thinking about coming to Ubiquity to get the graduate degree top-up. Now, if you've already finished your work with the Transformative Learning Foundation, you need to come to us with the certificate of completion. If you haven't, a certificate of enrollment will do, just so that we know that you are actually undertaking the coursework that you need to take in order to write the thesis or dissertation in this field. If you want to apply right away, that's the button right there. It's right on that landing page. But just in terms of how this thing is structured, it's all laid out quite clearly on this table here that's on the landing page. So one thing you will notice is that regardless of whether you're taking a master's, a PhD, or a combined MA PhD, one course that you have to take with Ubiquity is the Creative Journey to Dissertation course. It's a 5-day, 3 hours a day intensive led by Dr. Georgie, who will talk to you all about what this course entails. But in a very, very short way, it's a course that will prepare you to write a thesis or dissertation, which is no mean feat, and therefore it's a very important course. We strongly suggest that students take this course at the beginning of their coursework with TLF, because the course will then give you the skills as well as the mindset you need, as well as that kind of general mentality that at the end of your coursework, you're writing a thesis. And so it helps to frame everything in that context as you go through your coursework with Transformative Learning Foundation. I'll let Dr. Georgie talk to you more about the details of that course. If you're doing the PhD, you do that as well as 2 other courses, which again, Georgie will explain to you in detail. Those 2 courses are the Chartres Academy course taken with Ubiquity, as well as our Great Books course. And then for the MA PhD, it's everything I just mentioned, plus 8 credits worth of electives. Again, the details, you can always get in touch with me and the other information I'll put into the chat if you want more information here. But really what you want to remember is coursework with the partner, graduate degree credential, and thesis/dissertation with Ubiquity. The payments are also completely separate. So you would pay Transformative Learning Foundation separately for whatever your certificate work is with them. And then you come to Ubiquity and you pay us for the certificate work with us. The graduate credential with us. A master's degree with us is $5,000, a PhD is $15,000, and the MA PhD is $16,600. We have payment options for that, so you can split that payment into 3 parts. And those 3 parts are usually first for the Creative Journey Dissertation and enrollment with us would be one payment. Then once you've begun your coursework with the partner, you might think to yourself, it's around the right time for me to get started on my thesis. And so for that, you would come back to us for the second phase, where we would provide you with a major advisor that would help you through that process. You can also select your own major advisor if you'd like one from Transformative Learning Foundation. That's totally fine with us too. And we have a pool of advisors for you to choose from, which I can share with you if you have any interest. I'm going to leave it at that in terms of the broad brushstrokes, in terms of how the program is structured. And I will hand over to you now, Georgie, to kind of tell us about the Creative Journey course and the other academic aspects of the course. So over to you, Georgie.
Thanks, Raji. Hello, everybody, and a warm welcome to you, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. My name is Georgie Szabo. I serve as Dean of Graduate Studies at Ubiquity University. I have been in this position for almost 10 years, so almost like an old furniture at Ubiquity University. I finished my PhD with distinction at the Sorbonne, Paris, and clearly our university requirements are so different to Sorbonne. Let me start with a very important aspect, which is at the Sorbonne, I couldn't start a sentence with an I. I couldn't put myself into my dissertation. Whereas here at Ubiquity, you can. You're very much welcome to share your personal evolutionary path, that what were the juxtapositions, what were the major tipping points, or anything that has transformed you to arrive to where you are now. In your dissertation at the PhD level or your thesis at the MA level, clearly your subjective voice cannot overtake the objective, which it has to be at least 50-50 symbiosis. But let me actually say a few words about the core courses we require at Ubiquity University. The one course that Raji mentioned often is the Creative Journey to Dissertation course. We have this course scheduled almost every month, apart from July and August, but probably you're taking holiday this summer. But September, October, November, December, and throughout next year, almost every month. 3 hours per day with half an hour break in it, Monday to Friday. There is no preparation required. The only requirement in order to get the 4 credits is you need to be there every single day, because we treat this course almost as it were an in-person course. You need to show up, you need to participate and enjoy it. We're going to fit a lot in within that 5 days, ranging from how to establish a fruitful relationship with a major advisor, what is the zero draft, what is the first draft, how to write academically. Clearly, in 5 days, I'm not going to be able to teach you how to write academically, but I can give you ideas, pointers, suggestions, and recommendations. If you struggle with academic writing or how to write a philosophical paper, on our website, we list, I think, 4 or 5 short courses that you may consider to take. Well, the best actually remedy for a fearful writer is really writing. You need to write as often as possible. So much more we're going to share at the Creative Journey to Dissertation course, that how to find the subjective and the objective balance. The subjective is really your statement, your argument, and the objective is how to underline, how you substantiate your argument. The objective is you bringing in the voices who said and what about your statement, about your argument. But we will go more into it at the course. Also, we're going to we have a very important element, or many elements embedded in this course about intuition, imagination, and creativity, because they are integral parts on a graduate path. So this is briefly the Creative Journey to Dissertation course that is requirement for the MAs, for the PhDs, and for the combined MA PhDs. For the combined degree and for the PhD, another 2 core courses are essential to be completed, besides the Creative Journey course. The second one is called the Chartres Academy course. It is called Chartres because there is an amazing city just an hour train journey away from Paris, where we have been going the past 17 years, apart from the 2 years, famous pandemic years. We usually take over that small city, which is over 1,500 years old. There's an amazing cathedral with an amazing labyrinth, and we have a fantastic 6.5-day in-person course there. We have keynote presentations. We have singing workshop. We have a dream workshop together. We actually hire out the cathedral for one evening. We sing in the cathedral. So in case you are unable to take the in-person course due to timing schedules or finances, you can always take the 2 recorded pandemic years of the Chartres Academy course. And that is actually may be easier for you because you don't have to shell out money for travel, for accommodation, and you can actually listen to the recordings of the recorded course as and when you wish. For this particular course, you will need to submit a post paper at the PhD level. It would be at around 18 to 25 pages written in the APA style and with footnotes and the proper quotations. We can cover all these elements at the dissertation, creative journal dissertation course. And I think that's really, it's a fascinating course. Everybody loves it. We usually have around 80 to 100 people every year there. We have alumni coming back and many students that actually are not or finished already, or they're actually current students, and actually those who are not students at Ubiquity University. So if you can take the in-person course, I would strongly suggest that you do so. The third core course is called the Grade Books course. That is a year-long course, and we have a live presentation every month. We have 6 books scheduled every year, different 6 books. Dr. Jim Garrison and myself, we usually come up with 6 great books, which is easy because there are tons of great books that are published. And you will need to either listen to the presentations or just watch the recorded version of it if you cannot take part in the live presentation. At the end of the year, you will need to submit a post paper at the doctoral level, the same page count, 18 to 25 pages. At the MA level, it would be around 10 to 15 pages. For that particular course, and actually for the shorter course as well, we never give you like a set of questions that here are the questions, choose one of those. It is totally up to you. You reflect on any aspect you wish so. It is your decision, absolutely your decision. For the MA PhD combined degree, apart from these 3 core courses, you will need to take another 8 elective courses. Don't worry about it, which those will be for the future, because we rather suggest that you take this program organically. Just take 1 course at a time. But if you have plenty of time and energy on your hands, then you can maybe take 2 courses. The easiest course is the Grade Books course because it lasts for a year. You will need to read 6 books in 12 months. I'm sure you read much more than that. The Creative Journal Dissertation course, that is 1 week only. The Charter Academy course is 1 week only. So it is, you can finish these courses within a year if you want to, but at the same time, this is not a marathon. I always say that enjoy the journey. You're going to have a lot of challenges and blocks and joys and delights. We will touch upon these at the Creative Journey to Dissertation course, because believe it or not, 99% of the MA and PhD students experience the same issues. So you are not alone. You're in this community. You have not just the Ubiquity community, but the TFL community as well, community at home, in your personal space. And that I really want to strengthen, because when I was studying at the Sorbonne, I felt very much alone. Here in Europe, when you're doing a PhD, you're supposed to know everything already when you start a course, but there's like, how would you know everything when you actually right at the beginning? So I want to make sure that you're always fully supported from Ubiquity. You always have the helping hand. You can always reach out to any of us, and we are there for you. So I'd like to stop now, because I'm sure there are plenty of questions, and pause the talk and stick back to you, Raji.
Thanks, Georgie. Appreciate all that. Just one thing I would say is that the Creative Journey course, as Georgie mentioned, is held once a month, except for the next 2 months in the summer, because things are a bit slow in the summer. But what I would draw your attention to is the link I've shared in the chat. And if there's anyone on the call or listening that has an interest in joining one of the Creative Journey courses and beginning your graduate journey this year, then please do fill out that form, because that will nudge our team to get in touch with you directly and reserve a spot for you in each month's course, because they do fill up. With that said, I think I'll open up to the people who are here in the audience. just, raise your hand and I'll let you talk, and you can either ask a question in person or you could type it into the chat box and I'd be happy to read it and ask it on your behalf. So, yeah, open forum. Do we have anyone that has any questions either about the Transformative Learning Foundation component of the program or indeed the Ubiquity side? Here we go. Shiv has a question. Go ahead, Shiv. You should be able to speak now if you'd like to ask the question in person.
My question is, how long you think a student will take to complete a master's degree? And what will be the fee payable to the Transformative Foundation?
Bob, perhaps I can hand over to you to answer how long the certificate program is with you and how much it costs. And then I think, Georgie, you can explain. You have your answer for how long the dissertation takes.
Thanks. The TLF, you can finish the program in as quick as you want, really, but easily within a year. And also you can go completely at your own pace. We are very, we're a relationship-based organization, so that we try to create the opportunities that our co-learners need in order to live within their budgets, to live within their time constraints, and so on. Typically, it's a year to 18 months to finish. As far as cost goes, as Brandy mentioned, we work out payment plans according to individual needs. We customize, but the overall cost, Brandy, is how much? How much? Tell me.
It's $11,750, but we do have a scholarship available. And like Bob said, we've worked it out with many different, each certificate learner in their own way of how to cover the costs.
Thank you for that. Georgie, any comments on how long it takes on our end once people come to us?
Yes, for the MA, as I mentioned, you will need to take only one course, the Creative Journey to Dissertation course, that is only 1 week. And the requirement in terms of length of an MA thesis, that's between 50 to 80 pages. That includes the table of contents, the bibliography at the end, or references, the abstract, any images you may want to include. So as I said, it's really not about a marathon. It's not how quickly you can finish this program. It's really about how you take it in, how you percolate it in your consciousness, what you take out from it. And believe it or not, really, the job doesn't actually finish when you conclude a thesis or a dissertation. It actually is so much, afterwards, right? So the path itself may change, but it's really not done. In terms of how long would it take to finish a PhD, but clearly a PhD is a bit deeper, and it's a greater research project than an MA. The length for a PhD dissertation would be at around 250 pages, inclusive of table of contents, all the references, the bibliography, images, list of images, etc. So, it's great to have deadlines. This is actually another hot topic we're going to discuss at the Creative Journey to Dissertation course. You need to be very flexible and adaptable in terms of setting deadlines, because life throws various challenges at us. And it's good that if you have that ability, that you can actually, change, because sometimes, learning takes much longer than one anticipates right at the beginning. And it's really not about, in my understanding, and according to the past 10 years at Ubiquity, that how many books you read and analyze them or succinctly explain it in a paper, but it's so much more about your own learning of yourself, that transformative learning. And that sometimes is a greater challenge for many students, how to come over those obstacles and blocks that haven't seen before. But more about it in greater detail at the Creative Journey course. So you can finish a PhD maybe in 3 years, or you can finish it in 5 years. It doesn't really matter as long as you are enjoying it and you are enjoying on the whole path. And there's one more thing I'd like to share, that please try to take the ego out of this whole equation of an MA or a PhD pursuit, because you are serving a greater purpose. You're serving actually humankind. Whatever you're going through of your own becoming on this very particular journey will be emphasized and explained in your thesis or dissertation. That's going to help humankind, and that is the bigger picture. So it's really not about you. You are part of the story. You sharing a message that is conveyed through you, from the universe, from the greater entity of life, whatever you call it, God, super consciousness, etc. And that is going to be explained and worded in your dissertation. So please be mindful of that. And that could be a reminder that when you feel that you're not sure where you're going, which direction, that you will be guided. There is always a help, whether it is a person at Ubiquity, a person at TFL, that you need to do this journey, because you have so much to uncover and to share with the world. And even if it is just one person whom you're going to influence, that's good enough. Then done your job, because maybe that one person is going to start the domino effect. But that's a long-worded response to your question.
But beautifully, Georgie, and I would just like to add that that's what TLF, all of our courses have to be serving all of humanity. Even though we are each have our zones, those zones can't, like for instance, in spiritual activism, transforming the people with whom we're active, both within and our organization, as well as any particular special interest we're bringing forward. That's in essence, and I so appreciate your articulation of it, and I just want to get on board with that. I want to apologize for Brandy leaving, for those who can see her, but all the fire alarms are going off in her building, so she had to run out. So we'll hope Brandy's house is not on fire.
Yeah, hope everything's okay. Thank you for that answer, both of you. There's one more question in here from Judy. How are the 8 elective courses chosen? They can be courses of your choice, as long as obviously they fit within the theme of what you want to write. So, I mean, the assumption is you will pick courses that are useful to your process. They can be chosen from Ubiquity, or they could be chosen from outside. We would suggest that you speak with your major advisor when you're picking those courses, and speak with Transformative Learning Foundation and Ubiquity too, to make sure that the coursework you're doing fits the direction that you're headed in. Let's see, we've got one more. This one's from Todd. Scenario: I complete the MA pathway, and down the road I desire to pursue the PhD pathway. What is the process for doing that? Georgie?
Okay, well, it depends whether okay, so if you are on an MA path and you haven't written an MA thesis, then it is just a matter of contacting our registrar to shift to the MA and PhD combined degree. Why I'm saying that is that for the MA PhD combined degree, you write only one dissertation at the very end. You're not going to get 2 different diplomas, because if you want to get an MA, then you're going to have to write an MA thesis. If you want to get a PhD, then you will have to write a PhD dissertation. For the combined MA PhD, you only write one dissertation. So in a sense, you are saving writing one dissertation. So your diploma would say that it is a combined Master of Arts and Doctor of Philosophy degree in etc., whatever your major will be. So that is the difference. So I would suggest that when you finish all the TLF required courses, and you finish with us the Creative Journey to Dissertation course, that would be the prime time to decide whether you want to finish an MA, and then maybe take a bit of a pause, take your time and to see whether you want to go on to do a PhD, or if you're already certain at that point, then I would suggest that don't enter into working with a major advisor and start in your thesis phase, then enter into the combined degree. Hope it makes sense.
Thanks, Georgie. And I think one additional piece of info that might underpin or surround that answer is that if you're going for, the requirement is that if you're doing a master's degree, you should have an undergraduate degree. And if you're doing a PhD, you ought to have a master's. That's the general rule. Having said that, I think it's important for everyone to know that, for instance, if you're applying for a master's and you don't have a bachelor's, that shouldn't stop you from applying with us, because our admissions office is very open-minded when we're looking at bachelor's level equivalency in terms of your competence. So your life experience, your work experience, all of those things add up. And many of the people in our community have incredible work and life experience that would be even more than a BA level competency if you really look at the work that they've done. So I wanted to do two things there with that answer, is to point out that those are the requirements, but that also that we're flexible with those requirements in terms of MA level, PhD level. Okay, we have another question from Joss. I hope I'm saying that right. Last week, I visited the Ubiquity website of the Wisdom Graduate School. The process of that study looks rather similar as this of TLF course. But what is the difference? I will let Georgie comment on that too, but from an organizational perspective, the difference is that the Wisdom School is Ubiquity's own internal academic school. So all the courses and the thesis writing would take place within Ubiquity. In terms of the TLF coursework, if you have specific questions, perhaps they can answer, and Georgie may have something to say on the wisdom studies side. But the idea is that all the coursework with TLF takes place outside with TLF, and you just come to us for the thesis. So it's two separate courses. But Georgie, perhaps you have more nuance to that.
Sure, absolutely. Well, not just the TLF, but any other partnership programs through Ubiquity and with Ubiquity have a very, very structured program, which means that the partner organization sets out what are the courses to be taken, and the student actually comes to us for the required core courses. The Wisdom PhD and the Wisdom MA programs are different in a sense that apart from the core courses, which are very much the same for both the MA and the PhD, the remaining course requirements is really chosen by the student himself, which means that either courses to be taken from Ubiquity or from externally. Externally can be another university, another organization's courses, or going to a conference, or doing just an independent study. You want to go on a pilgrimage to, I don't know, Poland to visit all the Black Madonna sites, or I don't know, or go for another pilgrimage in Tibet. And then you want to write a paper about it. So the MA in Wisdom Studies or the PhD in Wisdom Studies are suited for those people who are not quite yet sure what they want to write their dissertation on. Now I need to segue back that at this stage, none of you are supposed to know what you want to write your dissertation on, because it takes time to realize, to actually unearth so much from within, that what is that laser focus, what is that question, what is that statement, what is that argument that you want to discuss in your dissertation or thesis. However, if you are in this program, you already have a ballpark figure already. in the wisdom studies, we have students who came to us who want to focus their studies on in their Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, Christianity as a framework for their studies. But it can be very different. We had students who was arguing that Carl Gustav Jung was very much influenced by Taoism. That student was perfectly fitted in the PhD in wisdom studies program. So that is really the major difference between the two programs.
Bar, maybe you have something to add to that in terms of your side of things.
I do, and thank you for that, Georgie. So at TLF, as I said, we have the 5 zones, and so we're asking people to look at they can center and concentrate in any particular zone, and in each zone there's a variety of courses offered, so we're self-directed. We ask everyone, all of our learners, to be mostly self-directed. That is, what do you really want to study? Where do you find that the transformation understanding has meaning to you, is resonating within you now? This is online with what the deep unearthing that you're talking about, Georgie, in that we're moving towards that. We're moving ever more deeply towards that. And in connection with your advisor and in connection with one another, the understanding and the wisdom and the transformative opportunities in that particular arena that you're looking at come forward. That then you might say, oh, well, I want to go more deeply into that. Or what we often see is that, say, person in the indigenous wisdom zone says, wait a minute, the whole human development zone has so much to say about that, because that zone deals with especially the unfolding consciousness of children. So it's different than a child development approach in traditional ways, very different in that you're looking at it through a child's eyes and literally the unfolding of their consciousness through their life. In this way, the meaning of the indigenous wisdom often impacts the understanding of the human development impacts the indigenous wisdom. And so what we get is a much more, it's a very rich, connected approach that allows a universal understanding to come through, as well as the opportunity to be specific. I know Lewis has taken some of that information and applied it to his great work with Black fathers, as he's talked about briefly here, and so on. And we've seen it use these kinds of things cross-correlated over and over again. And since our faculty really like one another and hang out together, then we're really able to talk about who our individual learners are and who our students and how they might learn from one another and what we can do together with them. And it's a very collaborative, open, awakening, emergent approach.
Thanks for that, Bar. Thank you. Do we have any more questions? We've just passed the hour, so I feel like our timing's quite good, but let me just give everyone a little bit more time to see if there are any last questions. Of course, I'll be sharing a recording of this 24 hours or so after the call is done. And that recording will come in an email along with other important links like our landing page, as well as that shared form, the form that I put in there, the interest form rather, which is important for you if you'd like someone from Ubiquity to contact you soon and get your enrollment process started. If you feel the urge to get into the Creative Journey course this year, or apply with Ubiquity, then fill out that form, please, and then we will get back in touch with you as soon as we can. The websites on the Transformative Learning Foundation side, as well as ours, are always there if you want more information. I don't see any other questions in the box. Perhaps I'll open up one last time. Oh, here we go. We have a comment. Okay. Thank you for that comment, Todd. Appreciate that. Excellent. So yeah, by all means, I mean, get in touch with me if you need to. I'm going to put my email address here as well. I should have done that. But you will get an email from me in the next couple of days. So feel free to get in touch whenever you like. And we'll take it from there, I'd say. Ba, is there anything else that you or your team would like to sort of end with?
Well, this is exciting for us too, because we've felt this real connection with Ubiquity and the Wisdom School. Many of the inspirations for the Wisdom School's unfolding were also in all of us in studies and connections and so on. And I think, Brandy, maybe you want to put our contact stuff in the chat as well for people to take a quick look at. And if it's all right with you, Raji, I would just like to give Josette or Piper or Lewis or Brandy, Barbara, do you want to do 30 seconds? I'll pass it over to you, Piper. You want to do a quick 30 seconds here?
Mostly just appreciate the time. Even just talking about it always brings me hope and inspiration that people are interested. And I hope we continue the journey together.
I would simply ditto what Piper just said, and I look forward to working with whoever finds life with children interesting and how we grow together. Look forward to meeting you.
And I would offer that I know that we're seeking one another, and that there's real destiny moments where we feel connection and just support people to follow through with that connection and allow the surprise to happen.
I can
Lewis,
share.
oh, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm excited to see our organization truly is emergent in that the folks that join shape it. So I'm looking forward to seeing new faces and participants and folks joining the community and seeing where that takes us.
You know, and I echo everything that everybody else said. There's not much to add to that. I would just say to remember the credo of African wisdom, of African spirituality, and that I am because we are, and we are therefore I am, that as we move humanity forward, that we must move it forward together, and that it must be an ongoing transformative experience.
Thank you very much, everyone. Judy, I just saw your comment in the chat. So I will send you out all those links again over email. So don't worry if you can't copy it right off the chat. You'll have them in the next day, I would say. And you can access all of them from there. I'm just going to put them in one last time in case you just want to copy the link itself. But other than that, thank you everyone who was on the panel, everyone from Transformative Learning Foundation. It's such a fantastic program. I really do hope that everyone gives it a chance, gets on the website, learns about it, and indeed not just get on websites, but contact us, whether that's at Ubiquity or at Transformative Learning Foundation. It's always great to talk with people. It's the best way to get a feel for if something is for you. So thank you very much to everyone, wherever you are in the world, whether you're here live with us today or watching on the recording. We hope to be in touch and to be in contact with all of you, hopefully in the near future. Thank you, everyone, and good night.